Hi guys, welcome again to our little sessions, and we've got Eliyahu with us today again because we are talking about lesson number 8, which is recognizing miracles. And we have a discussion here, which is what are miracles? And what I wrote on when I perceive was the biggest, the desperation, the pain, or the fear, the biggest we see it, what happened as a miracle. But I said that miracles are all around us all the time. Mm-hmm. And now we're having the discussion of what are miracles. Eliyahu, I'm going to let you have a bit of a talk about it.
Well, in a sense, there's a spectrum of ways of perceiving what a miracle is. On the one hand, one person might say that everything is a miracle. Life itself is a miracle. And it's just a matter of recognizing all these things as miracles because it's all a miracle. Mm. On the other hand, there's a view that a miracle is a special event that breaks with the normal way that things happen in the reality that we understand. And so, the kinds of things that get pointed to as miracles are, if you take the Jesus story from the New Testament, he turns water into wine instantaneously. He walks on the water and so forth.
And the story of the oil that's filled up for the girl in which part of...
Yeah, somewhere up in Phoenicia that was.
Yeah, and so the oil is keep filling up the jug forever and ever because of a good deed that she did. Yes, I understand.
Okay, so...
But that's the talk about, that's what I was saying, that it comes from when something is really necessary. There's a whole heap of people that are starving, so the guy's pulling up one loaf and managed to feed all of them. But it's because it's a big thing, or the lady is having a really, really hard time, so then she recognizes it as a miracle. But in reality, even if we look at Jesus itself, he said everyone can do it. This is a gift that we all have. We can all give bread to everyone. We can all turn water into wine. We can all walk on water. So it only looked as a miracle because there was that big pain that created it. So, how I was saying that the soldier is going to walk into a blowing house and an angel or something throws a rock in front of him and virtually take him that second away from going into the house before the house blows up. So he sees it as a miracle, the miracle but I'm saying if we develop our awareness, if we look around constantly, if we develop that awakening within ourselves, then we're not going to walk that way. We're going to choose a different path. And sure, you don't see the miracle then. Mm-hmm. You don't see it because you avoided the accident in the first place. Mm-hmm. But you had a different approach to it. So back to you.
Yeah, well, anyways, I was talking about there's a spectrum of views and understandings of what a miracle is. So on the one hand, you can see everything, literally everything is miraculous. On the other hand, you can see only the things that are unusual or depart from what you understand to be the natural way of things as miraculous. So from that latter perspective, the one that sees only the walking on the water and so forth as miraculous, in a sense, that view is a reflection of one's ignorance. Mm. That is the ignorance of what actually is possible. So the only reason you think of walking on the water as a miracle is because you think of it as impossible.
Mm. Okay.
But the same person who walked on the water also said, all things are possible, only believe. So there's an element of belief, or you could perhaps substitute the word understanding or awareness of what's possible that's missing for someone who regards what they call a miracle as a miracle, because they don't believe that it's possible, and so when it happens, then it's a miracle.
Okay, so you're saying that it's not just awareness of what's happening around, it's actually our belief system that is lacking, because we don't believe that things are possible.
Well, it's not only our belief system, it's also our understanding, what we've actually learned and taken in, so for example, for an ordinary person who's never done any welding, to get two pieces of metal to stick together is a miracle, because they don't stick together no matter how hard you press them or bang them together, they won't stick.
Yeah.
But the person who knows how to weld can come along and with heat and the electrode, melt them together and they're one piece. And so it seems like a miracle from that perspective.
So actually, miracles should be, the conversation could go to, that depends on our perspective, because I was saying that everything, like you can see miracles all the time, and that's why when I perceived that lesson, it was like the bigger the disaster, the bigger the miracle. That's we see miracles only when there's big things, and we should be able to see them, or we need to develop the ability to see them all the time, everywhere, and therefore we will live in a higher place of joy, because we'll constantly see how everything is miraculously happens around us, and it'll bring us joy and happiness, and we'll be in a higher state. And so it's really us being able to change our perspective of how we are looking, maybe seeing it in different views or in different,
Yeah, perhaps a biblical word that connects with this is awe.
Oh, okay.
Often.
Yir'ah.
Yes, that's in Hebrew. Yir'ah is Hebrew. Often, translated fear, and perhaps there can be an element of fear, but I think the primary meaning is awe. When we can only be in awe of what's around us if we have some understanding of it. It's the understanding of the intricacy of nature, of the interconnectedness of the web of life, of the interconnection of the entire universe, that something that I do on this planet, it can affect the whole universe. That's awesome. It's amazing. It's if you're walking around with blinders on and you don't have any imagination, any concept of the possibility that what I do here can affect something somewhere else in the universe. So the more awareness that you have, the more understanding you have, the more learning that you do in terms of not the reality, but the realities of the universe.
The complex of all the realities.
Yeah, with multiple dimensions that they intersect with each other and so forth. Then the more you are filled with awe, which is perhaps another word for
miracles,
for what you're saying, or for the for the appreciation of it. Anyway, so I'll leave it at that.
Okay, well, guys, it's as always the little discussions and the lessons are lessons, so we are trying to learn them as we continue in our journey. It's not like we're giving something and we have to believe it and stick with it, but actually we're giving something that we need to develop. So it was like all the lessons, what you see and what you send is what you perceive. That's a huge lesson that we've learned, and we have to keep learning again and again and again, and show ourselves that, hey, we put this love out and suddenly something comes back to us from another time, a different place. Sometimes it takes a few days, but if we can recognize that giving and taking and receiving, we have the lesson of protection, that when we are aware, when we put our light out and we put our awareness out, then we get our protection because we are aware where to be and how to behave. So we avoid things. And it's always this thing that when we avoid something, then it didn't happen, then it's a bit hard to believe. So then it's a big lesson in actually believing in this whole process. We have the compassion, we have the circle of and healing, the circle of crystals. We were talking about time. We talk about time with Eliyahu as well. We learned about responsibility, which was very strong and a big lesson. The seeing, being able to see what's around us, that was lesson number 7. It was seeing and respect and love and being flexible. And today was recognizing miracles. So that's all different lessons that each one of them, we have to keep developing it. We are not, it's not like we received the lesson and now we know it all and we don't have to think. The opposite, it sort of creates within us more questions and more awareness and more trying and more, it's a lifetime of requests and learning. Yes. So we thank you for being with us today, and thank you, Eliyahu, again. And we love you, and we hope to see you again. And please, share this lesson if it's good for anyone else. And bye-bye.